Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levette. This episode is sponsored by WOMEL. More than a leadership magazine, WOMEL is a resource that helps women grow their business, mentoring, attentive support, and services. To learn more about WOMEL services and the magazine, go to their website. Go to WOMELLE.com or give them a call at 702-747-3054. Leadership, influence, build your business, do and have it all with WOMEL. Contact them today. Well, hello, everybody. Margot Levette back with a brand new episode, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Well, you know, from time to time, I will bring you a panel discussion. And when I do bring them, they are fabulous. Today, I have three ladies. We are going to talk about being enough, or those days when we just feel as though we are not enough. Did a poll, a little soft poll, and come to find out, most of us, if not all of us, truth be told, we've been there, we're going through that, and we may feel that way again. We're not psychologists, psychiatrists, we are women from different walks of life, and we want to just talk about this subject for the next 30 minutes and take it from been there, done that, and how do we get on the other side of it? So let me introduce everyone. Right next to me on the screen here is a confidence coach, lifestyle coach. Let me introduce you, Charlotte Terrell. And
Hello,
then next to Charlotte is Andrenee Boothe, who is, I like this lady's monthly newsletter, and it's Beautiful You, a newsletter of monthly goodness. She is the CEO of Andrenee's Corner. Andrenee, welcome. And
thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. Next to Andrenee, we have the one and only life coach, podcaster of the Enough Factor, Suzette. And I want to make sure, I had her name down here. I want to make sure, Vearnon? Vearnon. Okay. I don't want to butcher anybody's name. So let me get right on into this. And I'm keeping it wide open. Anybody can speak at any time. But just so that we can get the ball rolling, Charlotte, will you start us out? What is this thing of not being enough? And when did it attack you? Does it attack you all the time? When did you understand that this thing of not being enough is a very real state of being?
I think that there's been an ongoing stigma where there's just been an expectation. Sometimes we put it on ourselves. Sometimes our family puts it on us. Sometimes society puts it on us. You know, particularly women, we're just expected to be this perfect person. You know, you can bring home the bacon and feed the kids and make sure the dog goes to the vet and all of these things. And we're holding all these plates. But people are realizing that these plates are falling and breaking because they're trying to do all of this. And, you know, perfect Patty done died, y'all.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and be who you are. She gone. But be Patty. Who you are and be happy to be who you are and to have what you have, because we're not perfect. And I think social media, along with all of these other things coming at us at one time, have just caused people to just kind of buckle under the pressure. And so, you know, just as Sister Suzette was saying, you are enough, and having felt like we're not enough, you have to realize that you are perfect. No.
Yes.
But you are enough, and you're here for a purpose and for a reason.
Mm-hmm. And understand that it's okay to not be perfect. Give yourself permission not to be perfect. Who said that you would be? Sometimes we are overachievers and we don't want to be wrong, and we don't want to be embarrassed, and we don't want to look like we made a mistake. And every one of those don't want us is a huge responsibility that we're putting on ourselves. Anybody else feel that way?
There was an older lady that told me what you resist persists. So the more you resist making mistakes and falling on your face, the more you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chime in. Andrenee, Suzette, y'all chime in on this also. What's your take on this not enough?
Go ahead, Andrenee. Lay it on us, girl.
Well, for me, thank you so much, Coach Suzette.
Wasn't that beautiful how I did that?
Lay it on us, girl.
From my own experience, first of all, growing up as a little dark-skinned Black girl with a full nose and full lips, big hips, big booty, tall, and seeing what was celebrated on media. So, back in the day, it wasn't social media, but TV, magazines, seeing the kind of girls that boys liked, seeing what is celebrated, what is magnified. And when measuring myself against what I see as celebrated, I think to myself, I'm not that, so something is wrong with me. And then growing up and realizing that all of it is just an image. Perfect Patty is an image. It's a false, graven image that everyone is living up to. And I know that we use the phrase that we're not perfect, right? But I feel like we are all perfect in our own way. I think what happens is when we're trying to be whatever perfect Patty is, because she don't exist. When we try to be that, that's when we feel that we're not perfect. But being you is perfect. And whenever I forget who Andrenee is, that's when I feel like I'm not enough. When I'm comparing myself to someone else, that's when I feel like I'm not enough. And so giving ourselves permission to be who we are unapologetically, the big nose, whatever it is, and showing up and just loving who you are. I think that's what being enough is, and that's what perfection is. And that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I have to get with that too, because, and I love this perfect Patty. This is the first time I've heard about perfect Patty. Sound like perfect Patty. She's being shown out. But but for me, my whole enough thing started when I was little. It was this thing where when I was growing up, I was told you got to be 10 times better than your constituents that are fair skinned to get what they get without even trying, And so when you're being told you got to be 10 times better than somebody to get what they get without even trying, it makes you feel like you're not enough. Yes. And it also sets you up to think that, okay, that means my performance is what's going to define me. That's going to define whether I'm worthy, whether I'm worth it, whether I'm valuable, whether I should be taken seriously, whether I matter, whether I'm lovable, everything, even in relationships. We're taught when we're little that you got to be able to cook, you got to be able to do this, you got to be able to do that to earn a man's affections. Ergo, again, performing to be enough. And so that started with me so young, and it just repurposed itself and reinvented itself manically and dysfunctionally into other areas of my life.
That's just honest. Look, that's just, it manifests itself in so many areas. It comes, so it sounds, when I hear you ladies speak, it all begins with our childhood and what we've learned, our environment, and what we've taken on. Now that we are adults and we, some of us have outgrown, or we've addressed the bears and the owls and the tigers that are growling at night. We've addressed them. We've gone to the psychologists, psychiatrists. We've worked through, honestly taking a look. What you all's thought on the woman or the man that did decide to take that route and got some professional help, because sometimes this thing of self-loathing turns into total self-loathing. I'm not enough. It takes that downward spiral. That what are you all's thoughts on, is there shame to going to get professional help? Does that really help one?
I think, yeah, I do too, Charlotte. I think that hopefully it's starting to change. I know when I was growing up, especially growing up in the Bible Belt, I tell people, I was in church so much that if my mom had gone into labor in church, I would have been born between the pews. So that's how much I was involved in church. And back then, people looked at psychiatrists as the enemy, the devil. They looked at it as something that's totally against God. But, I think things are starting to change. Sure, it's slow, but I think, honestly, we're getting to the point where everybody needs therapy or somebody objective with some skill and some know-how to work through these things. Just name it and claim it, just binding the devil, just stand on the altar till you're sweaty. It might work for some things, but other things, it's just not a one-size-fits-all thing. Sometimes you just can't have hands laid on you and all of a sudden you get up different. And so I think what I love about spirituality is, and God as I know him, is that he uses lots of different ways to communicate and to heal us. And he never healed anybody the same way. So I don't know why we feel like there's something wrong with us going to somebody else to help us unpack our stuff. I think people are starting to realize, hey, we need to do something, because this is starting to jack my life up.
You're totally right. Charlotte, take it from there, because I feel that you were about to chime in on something. And Suzette, you really set this up, that this whole thing of us, it's okay. Right. So Charlotte, dive on in there, please.
I was just about to say, if you find that you have a diagnosis of diabetes or high blood pressure, you do go to the doctor, and there's no stigma on that. You take a pill and your sugar is okay and your blood pressure goes down and all of those things. And so I believe that, just as Suzette said, there are different pathways to healing. And I believe that I've done therapy for a number of years, and I believe that therapy is one of those ways. And in the African American community, I think that it's important for us to accept that as a way. We were taught, what goes on in this house stays in this house, and faith will get you through. You just go to the good Lord in prayer. That's all you need. A little dab will do you. But sometimes there's a process, because when we are combated with things, even the strongest element, if it's constantly tried, it's going to break. It's going to buckle. And, when we are hearing these things, like Suzette was saying, that even as a little girl, I think all three of us made references to, even as children, being told certain things and being exposed to certain things. Those things take root, and sometimes they can make you bitter, sometimes they can make you better. But in order to be better, you have to go through a process. And I believe that therapy is one of those ways. Therapy or coaching, definitely.
I think that you need to go with a professional. Give yourself permission to go with a professional, because after 26 years in corporate America, I actually quit a job, actually visiting a therapist, calling her almost every day in tears, and my mental state was breaking, and my health numbers were off. So I'm going to tell you the truth, I didn't even pray. I just was stuck in this terrible situation, didn't know how to get out, and it was the help of a therapist that got me out. That's the reason why I have the podcast now. So ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a chance, because a therapist will give you a fighting chance. Too many of us are not taking that professional help. Your grandmother doesn't know. Your mama doesn't know everything. Mama don't know everything. Right. You need to get into the hands of a professional person. Andrenee, I want to move along to this thing of social media. I can't remember who spoke of it, maybe all three of us when we were speaking offline. How do we protect ourselves? And then all three, I want to hear from all three of you ladies on this. How do we protect ourselves and our being enough when we are on social media? Because when we write a book, we are on social media. When we're entrepreneurs, of course, when we're podcasters, we are on social media and taking in everything that's social media. How do we protect ourselves when we are dealing with that entity?
That's a great question, especially because I'm on social media a lot, because that's where my tribe is, and seeing everything. I have to be honest with you. In the very beginning, I really compared myself a lot to, especially to a lot of coaches. That was happening a lot, and I was constantly measuring myself against, well, she has this amount of followers and she has this amount of views, and what am I doing wrong? And then there goes the performing and thinking I have to do more and do more. And I have to tell you what is helping me, because it's still something that I have to work on. What is helping me is constantly reminding myself that my journey is special, that my value is not measured by how many people view my live streams, but it's measured by the people that I impact. That when my clients or whoever's in my tribe says, Andrenee, I'm so appreciative that you shared whatever you shared because it helped me. That right there, I let those things say, okay, listen, as long as you're impacting, you're good. Also, what also helps me is celebrating other coaches. Instead of just looking from the sidelines, right? And saying, oh my God, I wish. When I celebrate others, I realize I feel like I'm celebrating myself too at the same time, because we're all one. So when I see someone winning, someone, being celebrated, whatever the case may be, I say, congrats, good job. I give them their kudos. And I find that strategy works for me. And that's what helps me. Really owning my own journey, being grateful for the impact that I am making, and celebrating others.
Absolutely.
Like that. Mm-hmm. Wow, like that. Like that. Charlotte, Suzette, let's hear from you. That's good stuff, Andrenee. Good stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Suzette?
Oh, okay. I was trying to mute because I heard the garage in the background, so I was like, I don't want this to be on the tape. But
I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, the background noises. But I think, let's see, what protects me on social media, like Andrenee said, it is an ongoing thing. Some days you feel like you can just master it. It's like ain't nobody better than me. You start feeling all in your groove, and you're not looking at nobody. You like balling and shot calling. You feeling real good that day. But then you might not have such a good feeling when you wake up the next morning, and then you see something, and you see something else, and you see something else, and you're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So the way I protect myself is I try to first get centered before I reach over on my credenza and grab my cell phone.
Man.
Because my cell phone is my gateway. It's my gateway drug into social media. And so I'll try to take some time first to get back in alignment with who I am, whose I am, and why I am before I go. Because if I don't harm myself, likewise, it takes little bites out of you. At first you don't feel it, but it'll take little bites out of you. And I ain't trying to take nobody to church, but this is Sunday. But this morning I woke up with looking at this whole thing about the prodigal son all over again. And one of the things that I saw this morning when I was contemplating that was both sons were lost. It wasn't just the one that left that was lost, but the one that stayed was just as lost. You know why? Because he compared himself to his brother.
Oh.
You never did this for me.
Wow.
And his father's having to plead with him, but son, everything I have is yours. You could have had this at any time. And he's like, but I worked so hard. I slaved. And he's like, why you slave over what already was yours?
Wow.
And so I think sometimes with social media, we can lose ourselves. We forget that our gift is enough. We forget that we have been chock full of everything we will ever need to fulfill the purpose of the divine calling on our lives, whatever we take that to be. And so that's why I have to make it part of my spiritual practice.
Yes.
To remind myself before I get on social media of who I am, whose I am. And if I need to take a break, I take one.
Yes.
If I have to, I just do.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is good stuff.
Being made in his image and in his likeness, we have to be mindful of that. And life will bounce us around sometimes and we'll forget, but this is no gender intended. We are kings. We are meant to rule and to reign. It says he's King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He don't say King of Kings and Queens. He says kings. And so, like I said, it has nothing to do with gender. So before you plug in, you do have to unplug from the world and the world's way of thinking and doing things and plug into him, and then segue into social media. And like Sister Booth said, that who is her tribe is her tribe. So what I have may not be for everybody, but everybody's got a little something for somebody. And the person that you're supposed to be connected to and you're supposed to impact their lives is whose life you're supposed to impact. And the comparison and, well, look at this house and look at this person's business and look how many views they have. It really doesn't matter, because if you're not going into it with love and with intention, that love and that intention is the power to do what you're put here to do. And the social media and whatever everybody else is doing or whatever funk they faking is nothing to do with us. You know, I've seen on social media people in this big beautiful house, coaches in this big beautiful house. Then I see somebody else in that same house and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think they live together. I think they both live in the same house. Oh, so, I mean, you just have to stay in your lane, stay in your grade, and do what you are put here to do, because there is room enough for all of us on the field to work.
Oh my God.
Plenty of money, plenty of people for everybody.
Oh my God.
You ladies are on fire.
When Charlotte said King of Kings, I wanted to just fall out in the middle of my floor.
Listen.
I'm like, you know what? He ain't the king of fools. He ain't the king of servants. He the King of Kings.
Yes.
Come on.
I had to say, okay, I'm a king, baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm a king, baby.
Yeah. Make no mistake about it.
Make no mistake.
Yes. Putting it in the proper perspective, letting the facts be the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Oh, that was good.
I knew it. You ladies are bringing it. You ladies are bringing it. Now, you know, maybe somebody's listening. They're not Christian. They don't believe in God. You can shut us off right now. But we are unapologetically saved and in love with the Lord. So,
that's right.
Amen.
You know, Charlotte, you said something that that really struck a nerve, and I was talking to my mentor about it. And it's this thing of how people go on the social media and they have 3 million downloads and followers. And you know what? So many people go over there to Fiverr. You can buy people to put backlinks on your website. You can buy anything you need to embellish your look on Facebook. We can't forget that. Facebook or any other thing, it can be embellished. And you're looking at them folks and thinking you behind you trying to do this thing organically. And they've spent a mortgage payment, trying to get 1 month of looking like they're a lip popper, as my mama said. You know, they popping their lips and they don't have nothing going on. You farther down the road than they are, but they're dying for the dust before they let you know that. You know, so we have to remember that. Wow. Ladies, you know what?
Yes.
Between you three, I think we've kicked up quite a bit of dust, uncovered, and told many a truth. And let's start with Charlotte. What are 2 or 3 takeaways? Because I'm looking at the clock and I don't want to fire hose anybody. I just want everybody listening to be empowered and decide to make a move and change that thought pattern, because you can. So, Charlotte, give us 2 or 3 takeaways from this conversation that you want to give to the audience. And then we'll go with Suzette and Andrenee. Will you close us out? Just 2 or 3. Or if you have one juicy one that you just want to give, that's fine too. But let's leave the folks with something.
Okay. One of the things that I always, well, actually 3 of the things that I always say is, no matter where you go, you take you with you. So be your true and authentic self, but also know that whatever that person is, good, bad, the ugly, and everything in between, that's who you're going to take with you. And that's who God created you to be, number 1. Number 2, live a life of thanks living. You're living thankful every day for what you have and what you're doing and what you are not and what you're becoming and what you're evolving into and what you're hoping to be. Being thankful and grateful for all of it, because it's all a part of the process in making you who you are and who you're to be for other people, the people that you're to be connected to and their impact. And then the final thing is just be. We live a life where we trying to do, and it ain't nothing about us that's supposed to be doing. We are human beings. That's all that I have for today.
Wow. That was
Just
good.
be.
That was good. Let's see, 3 takeaways. I was sitting here thinking, when I had it in my mind, I'd hear something Charlotte said, and I was like, oh man, I lost it. Y'all, I'm 60 years old. I'm telling you, I should have wrote it down. but you know what? I really have to speak to people of faith here, because so many of us think that, I think we're being duped into thinking that we aren't enough and that we've got to perform. And I really believe that by virtue that we are here, that we are living and breathing out of the gazillions of sperm and eggs that could have, that were lost, that we weren't. So by virtue of that, we are enough. A higher intelligence willed us to be here, regardless of what our mamas did. Our mamas thought about daddies, our daddies thought about mamas, whether we got here by rape, incest, whatever. Something greater than ourselves decided we were so essential that we had to be here.
Yes.
That enough makes us enough, if nothing else. That makes us enough. So I think that takeaway is big enough that I don't think I need to say anything else.
I need to write that down.
Come on.
Yes.
Go, Andrenee.
Have you almost tearing? 3 things real quickly. Something this has been resting very heavily on me, because this is what God's Spirit has been speaking to me, because I am a high performer and I can work myself. Work. Okay, like Rihanna. Listen. And God was like, Andrenee, I already said yes. I said yes to you. The fact that you're here, that was my yes. And the only work you need to do, is to align and agree with my yes. Align and agree. That's the work. The work is aligning and agreeing with me. Wow. How are you going to do that? Affirm my yes. Day in and day out. That's the work you got to do. The reason why you're work, is because you're not agreeing. You think you got to work to get it. I already said yes. To those who are listening, God has already said yes.
Said yes.
All you have to do is agree. Just agree with God. Agree with God.
You're going to make us take up an offering. You're going to make us take up an offering right now. I tell you.
Then he's saying yes to us. And if we say yes to him, you never know where your yes is going to take you.
It's limitless.
Yeah.
It's limitless because he doesn't deal with just enough. He deals in more than enough.
Yes,
he's a God of abundance. So your yes is already abundant. Already.
Y'all preaching.
Cheering. Y'all took me to church because truly it was Bedside Baptist this morning. Y'all done taken me to church.
Amen.
My Jesus.
Yes.
That was good.
Wow.
That was better than good.
This is not for everybody,
Mm.
but for those that are still listening, you have to listen to this conversation more than once because so much was said, so much word was imparted right now, so much faith was released on your behalf so that you can be free to walk and move because people are waiting for you to be you and for you to know that you are enough. Yeah. These ladies, Charlotte, Suzette, Andrenee, have spoken to you. You are more than enough. And this is your time. We are at the top of 2020, and I don't like to time stamp anything, but this is the top of a brand new beginning. We found out hours ago that Kobe Bryant's helicopter went down. We never know when it's time for us to leave this terrestrial ball. Right. So I admonish everyone to listen to these ladies and understand that you are enough. Do not let that be a stumbling block any longer, something that keeps you away from what you are supposed to do. There are things that only you can do. People will listen to you because you are anointed and appointed to be there, to say that, to create that, to walk in that journey, on that path. And I'm feeling that with all my heart. I'm saying that to those that are supposed to write the books, write the doggone book. If you're supposed to be a podcaster, get with Suzette or myself. We'll teach you how to podcast. Walk past that fear. And if you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, what are you waiting for? There's a million people. God will lead you to somebody who's trustworthy, who will help you get set up. Let's drop all the pretense. Let's drop all the I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Let's drop all the lip popping. Let's drop all the I can't, I'm not enough. Yes, you are. These ladies have laid it on the line. We got together to let you know that you are more than enough. Yes. So now the ball's in your court, ladies and gentlemen. So that's just my takeaway. That's my takeaway. So we're going to close this out. Ladies, I am so appreciative of this time. But I want everybody to be sure to find you on LinkedIn, go to your Facebook pages. So each one of you, tell us how we can find you. If you have a group, will you make mention of that and quickly tell us what the group is all about? People need to be yoked together. They need to have, they need community. So if you have something like that going, please tell us about it and how people can be a part of that. Okay. Andrenee, you want to start us on out?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrenee Boothe. The best way to find me is via my Facebook group. It's called A Tribe Called Beautiful. You just type that in the search engine, A Tribe Called Beautiful. It's a space for women. Most women who come to the group, they had a crisis and they lost their sense of self. And in that group, they learn to accept and affirm who they really are, find out who they really are, and fall in love with themselves all over again. So that's the best way to find me. Can't wait to meet you.
Yes. I'm on LinkedIn as Charlotte Terrell, MED, MRC. And also on Facebook, Images Motivational Consultant Agency. There is a small group on there that I have recently initiated called Rediscover Your Power. So feel free to join on there, chime in, and provide whatever keeps you going and makes you powerful. And also on Twitter at Char the Real One. Reach out to me any way, any form or fashion, and we can link up and change the world.
Yes.
Miss Suzette, tell us how people can get in contact with you.
Oh, wow. Again, I'm Suzette Vearnon, and as Margot said, we are both podcasters. And so you can find me on my Enough Factor podcast, which is, you can find it on all major platforms. But if you want to go to the host, it's enoughfactor.podbean, podbean.com. And there you can find me too. I'm also on Facebook. I love Facebook. So I'm up there all the time. And you can find me if you type in Your Coach Suzette in the search box, you will find me there. Also my fan page, if you type in Suzette.Hinton, Hinton, then you'll find my fan page. But I post a lot, so if you post there and say hi, I get in contact with you very quickly. I love conversation. I love connecting, and I would welcome having you be a part of my community.
Wow. Community is very, very important because we can't do anything by ourselves. And you three ladies getting together I know that you've elevated and you've edified and you've helped a lot of people. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Reach out to these ladies. You feel their warmth coming through, and there's no need to procrastinate or not do what you're supposed to do. But I am Margot Levette, her business, her voice, her conversation. I'll be back next week, brand new episode. In the meantime, I want to say bye-bye. Thank you again, dear ladies. You all have changed the world.
Yes.
Yes. Let's do the victory dance. Oh, yeah.
Hey.
And this is what we were doing when everybody signed on today. This is what we're doing. We all. See, you can have fun and you can be yourself and be enough. So
yes.
I feel another question coming on. I don't want to belabor anything, so I'm going to sign off right now.
Because we can talk.
Yeah, we can go because this is very important what we're talking about. So I'm going to stop the recording right now. Bye-bye, audience. Catch us next week. Bye-bye. I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do. Right now, go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.